I I have a very good group of guys, and they're trying very hard, especially at the defensive end of the floor. It's probably also true at the offensive end of the floor, but not in the right direction. We try to score and shoot when we should pass. Our decision-making at the offensive end is not consistently good. And it's not the player is not good, but we're making way too many mistakes. Guys get up in the air and try to make a pass that they should have made 2 dribbles before that. And it's caused us some serious problems in the last 3 or 4 games. Earlier in the season, we were probably just sharing the ball a little bit better. But as the season progresses, guys want to be more and more aggressive. They tend to put themselves in situations where the defense, if it's good, causes them problems. And we saw it on Wednesday night against Georgia Tech, who plays somewhat of a unique zone defense, and we just didn't make the kind of decisions, not only against the zone, but in transition. We made a lot of critical errors. We missed 10 layups and turned the ball over 18 times. That's a recipe for disaster.
Are you surprised at this point in the season to see him play like that? You seemed like as disappointed as I've seen you in the game.
Yeah, I told the team today, I see the game a certain way from the way I learned it in high school. And if you beat your man and draw the help, you pass the ball to the open man. You don't fight the defense and try to score on the secondary helper. And I have to constantly remind myself how young we are. We only have 1 senior. Last year with Davon Reed and Kamari Murphy, they had been through the battles. Kamari Murphy was a 5-year senior, 23 years old. Davon was 22 years old, but had basically been a starter for 4 straight years. And then they had Jaquan Newton, who was already in his 3rd year with a lot of experience. But I see a lot of the mistakes being from inexperience, guys who've not had that kind of responsibility before at this level. And unfortunately, there is always a domino effect. If someone dribbles too much, then the next guy tends to dribble too much. It's kind of a bad message. On the other hand, if somebody is really hot from 3, the whole team tends to start making threes. It's like this is our day. So we've got a lot of growing up to do.
What is your take on the perimeter shooting of late, particularly Bruce and Lonnie seem to really be struggling?
I don't know if it's about shooting as much as chemistry. And I'll use DJ Vasiljevic as a perfect example. I think everybody on our team and anybody who watches us play knows he's a great shooter. But you can't throw it to him 1 dribble too late. If you penetrate and pitch while his man is helping, he'll make the shot. But if you hold on to it a split second longer, let his man recover and throws it to him, and he feels like I got to shoot this, then he's not going to shoot the percentage he's capable of. And I told the players, if I were playing with DJ back when I was in college, I played with a guy just like him. He'd average 16 points a game because I'd find him in rhythm all the time because I know his game. Our players don't tend to know each other's games very well. They don't know their own game very well. They don't have probably the greatest improvement, I don't know if you guys would agree with this, is Dewan Newell. Do you see him shoot the same shots over and over again? The guys find him in the same locations, and it looks routine. He's in rhythm. He knows what he's going to do with the ball when he catches it. Now, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but a high percentage of the time where you can recognize the improvement where he clearly has a game plan. I think a lot of our guys don't. I think they beat their man and then think they're going to figure it out while they're in the air. Or they get in the paint and they're surrounded, and then they think they're going to find the open man. Well, the expression, you can't see the forest through the trees, is really true for someone who penetrates. If you get in too deep, it's hard to find the open man, especially when you play a team like Florida State that's so athletic, long, gifted, tall. If you get in on the inside and they've got their active hands, which they always do, I think they've got a great team. I think Phil Kofer is an NBA player. I think they're playing at a very, very high level right now. I thought they had a great chance to win on the road at Duke. Duke just got a monster game from Marvin Bagley, and then some tremendous play at the end from Trayvon Duval and Grayson Allen and Wendell Carter. But Florida State was right there. They were ahead. I think it was 88-87 with just under 3 minutes to go. And then they beat Carolina by a point. They played a tough schedule. And, they're going to be a handful for us on Sunday.
You mentioned players maybe being too aggressive. Is a player maybe you want to be more aggressive, like Lonnie, perhaps? Because I know he's not shooting a great percentage, but he's a guy who maybe gets in a better rhythm the more he shoots. I don't know. Can you talk about him a little bit?
I think in Lonnie's case, he's a very gifted athlete. He's a very gifted shooter, scorer. And I think under certain circumstances, when he's aggressive, he's very effective. But like most freshmen, he hasn't seen the athletes and the size and strength. And I see it in practice where he gets by his man, but the help is right there and challenges him. So instead of shooting just a pull-up jumper, he shoots an off-balance layup. Leaning to the right especially. He gets up in the air and falling off. Those are hard shots to make. Less difficult in high school against smaller players. Far more difficult in college when you're playing against the athletes we are, who are 3 years older than you. Right? He was the older guy in high school, going against younger players, not as athletic as him. Now you're going against older guys who are more athletic. Not saying he can't be highly successful with that, but it requires experience. And we want him. We'll talk to him today about being more aggressive, getting more shot opportunities. But do you know what the most difficult thing is for high school players offensively to learn? To catch the ball in a scoring position where you can just catch in rhythm and shoot, or you can catch it and rip the guy and attack, or use the ball screen to attack. Freshmen are hard to throw the ball to. And not just our freshmen. There are a lot of players out there, especially against teams like a Florida State that relies on pressure defense. So in most cases, I would say we need to improve our passes, our touches. But against a Florida State, that pass is hard to complete. So if you're careless with it, it's a steal, a deflection, and a dunk at the other end. We showed them clips of last year of what happened. We were ahead with, I think it was 34-28 with just under 3 minutes to play in the first half. And they stole the ball off us. They knocked the ball from behind. They deflected a pass and came up with the loose ball. And we tried a post feed, and they stole it. Skills at this level are so important, and experience becomes a skill. I've seen this situation before, and I know if I try to post feed, this guy is going to steal it. Because even though our guy is trying to hold him off, the physicality of the game means he's probably not going to be able to. Freshmen are learning it for the first time.
Do you see similarity with Dewan last year and Lonnie this year? They both came in as, we're one and done. They're declared a one and done player.
Yeah, but by who?
Get here. By themselves, by the guru.
Well, they don't do that.
No?
No, they read about how they are.
So somebody, yeah.
Someone decides, and the number of one and dones are far greater than one and done and ready. There are a lot of guys that are one and done. They get to the NBA, and a few years later, they're not in the league. They are done.
They're done.
Look at anybody know who Anthony Bennett is?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Former
Cavs
number one
first
overall
round
pick.
pick.
Number one pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Is he in the NBA now?
He's not.
He is not. How about James Young, who was at Kentucky on their great team?
Couldn't tell you where he is now.
First round pick, 16th player chosen. Not in the NBA anymore.
But do you think that they're not thinking about that though? Do you think that that's not
Oh,
a consideration at all? Or?
no. I think our guys,
Yeah.
specifically, no. Every guy. My guys at George Mason, my guys at Bowling Green were thinking they were one and done.
What I want to ask you, I mean, is there any level of concern about, their focus about becoming good college players now, right here in, the
I think it's a real problem for our culture. I think it's a real sad commentary as to what's happened to college basketball, in my opinion. I think there are guys that are very capable of being one and done and being very successful. I look at what Jason Tatum is doing with the Boston Celtics, and I'm impressed beyond belief how mature he is, physically, mentally, emotionally, skillfully, athletically. He's ready to play in the NBA right now. But the number of guys that are not is staggering, and that still put their name into the draft. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, if it's both years. There's only 60 guys that get drafted, and there were 160 names in the draft. 160, that was 100 guys that didn't get drafted. Didn't get drafted. I'm like, that doesn't include seniors. These are all underclassmen.
Are you concerned about this team's level of focus in that regard, though?
I don't think of it in those terms. I talk to them in terms of what you need to do today to be a better basketball player, what you need to do on Sunday to help us beat Florida State. If you learn to do those things against this level of competition, that'll help prepare you for the next game, and the next game, and the next game, and then that might, in fact, prepare you for the NBA. But if you don't do the things necessary here, I doubt you're going to be ready to play at the next level. You can still go. You can still be drafted. Doesn't mean you're ready.
Do you get the sense they're listening?
What?
Do you get the sense they're listening and hearing that message?
My guess is they probably listen to too much. They probably read social media and Twitter and all that junk and what the media says, the color commentator on a game. Oh, this guy is projected. That guy has nothing to lose. He's no skin in the game. He can say whatever he wants. He can talk about, Chris Stoll should be a first-round draft choice. They can say whatever they want. What the NBA is all about, and we had the New York Knicks here today, they're about performance. Show me what you can do, and we'll decide whether you can play in the NBA. I don't make that decision. I don't draft. I talk to my players about the draft, but we do it when the season's over and the draft is actually imminent. Right now, what's imminent is Florida State.
You think, can you use Dwan Huell as an example with someone like Lonnie to show him, like, here's a guy, his improvement from last year to this really is big. And you talked before about the hands, catching the ball. His hands seem to be much better this year than last year. Last year he seemed to bobble the ball around a lot. Can you use that as an example of a guy who people were saying one and done?
Yeah, I can.
It's his second year that he's actually starting.
Well,
Look like a good player.
You can use almost everybody that's played in our program as that example. Shane Larkin came in as an unheralded freshman and ended up, after his second year, being drafted in the first round. Davon Reed stayed with us for 4 years. He was ranked 166 coming out of high school, became the 32nd player chosen. If players will listen, they will improve. Sheldon McClellan, who's now Sheldon Mack, told me in our first meeting, I asked him what areas he needed to get better, and he said, I need to become a better three-point shooter and a better defender. When the Washington Wizards signed him, their general manager told me, we're signing him because he's a terrific three-point shooter and can defend the 1, 2, and 3. So guys get better if they listen and learn. DeJuan Ewells is on that path. But
would elimination of the one-and-done rule itself make any difference?
Well, my suggestion would be what they had years ago. Let them go right out of high school. Because I look at college as the purpose of going to college is what? To get an education. These kids are coming like we're a prep school for the NBA. I don't see the need to do that. If you're good enough to play professional basketball coming out of high school, just go. Why should there be an age limit? There isn't in other sports. Now, I didn't feel this way 20 years ago because I saw guys going to college and staying 3 years. And I saw, Michael Jordan and James Worthy. Tim Duncan stayed for 4. Ralph Sampson stayed for 4. There were guys who were very good college players who were ready for the NBA, really wanted to get an education. So I looked at that and said, okay, that's reasonable. Now, go for a semester and a half. Guys who are one and done are not really one and done. They're like half and done, right? How many months are they actually in school? Because once they sign with the agent is telling them, look, you need to go work on your skills. You need to do interviews. You need to go on these one-on-one with general managers, presidents, owners, go against other players.
I guess what I'm saying is does the one and done rule kind of plant that in their minds at the start, where if they know don't go out of high school and they wind up here, they're not really thinking about maybe, are they? Or
I don't think they're thinking about graduating. Now, I hate to even mention this, but if you ever hear LeVar Ball and what he plans for his 2 sons now, one has already quit high school and the other is done with college after a couple of weeks, maybe a month of college classes. I don't know how long he stayed at UCLA.
he was in China.
So his approach is more vocal, but I think there are a lot of parents out there that are thinking the same thing. My son is going to college to prove that he's an NBA player. Not to better himself, to prove himself. There's a big difference. If I'm going to learn, I want to get better at my game, my craft, and I'm really listening to the coaches. But there's so many kids that are like, I'm just going to show what I can do. It's disappointing for me. It's not why I got into coaching. I got into coaching because of my high school coach and what a mentor he was to me, what a role model he was for me, and how much he meant in my life of learning from him from my freshman year of high school through my senior year and beyond for the next 40-something years till he passed away at 82 years old in 2013. You know, I looked at, I was there to learn, and I learned a heck of a lot. The guys who come here wanting to learn become like Shane Larkin, Davon Reed, Sheldon McClellan, DeJuan Ewell. And hopefully our guys will continue to get better this year.